This is how.
He tells people that they have to take action and they have to take action now. I took the action and the results have paid off.
What happens when the marketplace understands who we are and how we go out there?
Okay, so here's my hope. Here's my hope. Type a 1 in the chat because you can hear me. I just need to see a 1. I need to see lots of 1s in the chat because you can hear me. Can you hear me this time? Please, somebody say yes. That's all I need to know. Awesome. Okay, so that's woo. That was a lot of work right there just to figure out that small little thing, but obviously clearly important. Glad to see you guys. Thank you for those of you who are here for the first time or the 101st time. It doesn't really matter to me. It just means that, well, maybe it means that you guys already know that we do good things. If this is your first time here, again, apologies for the challenges that we just had. But at the end of the day, we're going to do my best to make sure that you know that it is worth it, that it was beyond worth it. Okay, so with that being said, for those of you who haven't seen me in a while, yeah, well, hey, hi, how you doing? You're going to begin to see me a whole lot more. All right. So if you haven't already, go to cashflowdiary.com/workbook. Again, that's cashflowdiary.com. I'll put it up here. Workbook. That is going to cover a lot of the material that we have for this evening, right? So let me see, and it should look very similar to this. If you don't have one yet, it should look very similar to that. So it's a free download. You'll have it for yourself. You'll get to keep it. We're going to blaze through it, so to speak, but we're also going to be going through a number of thoughts, if you will, as it relates to making sure, because one of the things that I like to do, I want to make sure that you, even though I don't know you, you know how and why things work. So for those of you who have been here before, you might as well let everybody else know that they need a notebook. They need to get ready to write really quickly because I tend to talk fast. And what you're looking at here is, okay, perfect. So everything is coming together. I love it. So here's the thing. You see that's the workbook you should have downloaded. And there's basically 3 things I would like to see. So if you can do me a favor, for those of you who are already, keywords, already in the short-term rental business, do me a favor, go ahead and add your the answers to these 3 questions. Where are you geographically, the number of short-term rentals you have, and what's one thing you want to make sure that you learn this evening, okay? One thing you want to make sure that you learn this evening. I don't really care what it is. I just care that you have something. Now, to the right of that, you see $1, and then it looks like :10, and then 10, then 100, and I'm going to explain. Well, here's what that means. I've had the privilege of working with entrepreneurs in 17 different countries on this particular strategy alone. And one of the biggest questions that always comes up, not only how much can I make, but is what do you guys cost? How does that work? All of those types of things. So let me just tell you in general, when we charge you $1, we know you're going to make 10. If we charge you 10, we know you're going to make 100. It's 100, 1,000, 100,000. We expect you to make $1 million. Our largest service that we currently offer is $300,000. So you can do the math from there. Now, we're not talking about any of those things tonight, as in none of them. The entire goal tonight is to make sure that you walk away with a better understanding of the short-term rental business. And then secondly, right behind that, for those of you that know that, hey, this is the business that I actually want to do, you're going to have a unique opportunity to actually sit down, stand up, however you wish to take an appointment with me on the phone by going to that link right there, cashflowdiary.com/start. If you are already in that mindset, like, yes, I know that this business is the thing I want to do, but I have not yet gotten started, then you definitely want to go ahead and go to cashflowdiary.com/start, get an appointment. There are limited numbers available over the next couple of days. I want to make sure that that happens. Now, with all of that having been said, I want to say the following. Number one, I am not blind in the sense that I know that there are other individuals out there helping you, teaching you. And here's what I'm going to say. If you are ever stuck in some sort of situation and you're trying to figure out, ooh, what should I do? I'm just going to make it easy for you, tell you to go do theirs. Ta-da, done, easy. Because here's a number of things that I know to be true. I know that once you get started, you need to stay started. But more importantly than that, there will come a point at which you are ready to level up the game. And that's probably when it is time for us to connect. Here's what I mean by that. We've been referred to as the MBA of short-term rentals, which I actually think is funny. But what that simply means is that we're best for those of you who are interested in not a side gig. Okay, not a side gig. If your idea of short-term rentals is, I'd like to have one, maybe two, I'm telling you now, you're in the wrong place. We're not good at that. What we are good at is 5, 10, 20 or more. Okay, that's what we're good at. That's what we know how to do easiest and best. Let me say that differently. Whatever your current annual income is, if you strive to make that on a monthly basis, we're the place for you. If you then strive to learn how to do so on 1 hour a day, we're the place for you. That's how that works. Okay. We have a strong background in systems. We have a strong background in revenue generation and operations. All of these things put together, the 5 pillars of the business, which we'll talk about on a different training, is where it comes from. The reason I'm going through all of this up in front so that hopefully I can just make you breathe and let go of any sort of pressure. Okay. Again, the hardest thing you have to decide to do today is that if you go, man, I like the stuff that I learned, and I'd like to find out what that next step looks like, then all you need to do is go to cashflowdiary.com/start. And when you go there, you'll be able to pick one time. It's a 22-minute phone call. And that is very intentional. And that is very specific. I know. And it is a 22-minute phone call. And inside that 22 minutes, we're going to break down where you are in the business, understand what it is that you're looking to do, and come up with a customized plan just for you to make sure that you are able to take those next steps. Now, for those of you who are here, who are existing, and you know who you are, guys, don't take up those spots. Okay. There are more announcements coming for you inside the community so that you'll be able to understand what we have now developed for you guys as well, because, well, let me just put it this way. I've been through a number of things over the past year or two, and we've made a lot of improvements, including me. So there's a bigger, better, badder version of myself, and as well as everything else. All right. With that being said, I hope that gave you enough time to write in your location, number of units, and the one thing that you'd like to learn, because I'm going to go check the chat real fast to see what is there. Okay. Yes. I have a notebook and several pens and pencils. Susan, long time. How are you doing? Love it. So let me see. What is this? Joan says 5 now, and I want to get some pivoting encouragement. My husband wants me to go back to, but I don't want to do. Oh, I don't want that. Okay. So Joan, I definitely want to find out more about what's going on with that thought process. And then Susan, Sonora, count 1 unit finally. Yes, guys, do me a favor. I know this sounds crazy, but I've known Susan for a number of years. Okay. She's been by far one of the most faithful, one of the most following, one of the most helpful individuals, and perseverant. I don't know if you've heard the phrase before, or this sentence: perseverance leads to character, hope, and hope does not disappoint us. And when it comes to being perseverant, I thought I was perseverant. Susan might have me beat because she has been after this. I don't know. I'm going to guess, was it 6 years, Susan? I'm guessing, but it could be more. I don't really know, because she's been working. So here's what I'm asking every one of you to do. Just put clap emoji, something in the chat, because we all have been there where you've wanted to achieve or do a thing, but you quit long before it actually happened. And that ain't Susan. That's just not Susan. And I think that deserves acknowledgement, round of applause, and all the things, because what? So good job, Susan. I Anyway, I'm just happy for you, if nothing else. So, because I can only imagine. I can only imagine. I mean, I know you've been waiting for a while. You've been persevering, and you got it done. So I like that. Yeah, and you guys know I like that because that's just where things start. All right, perfect. Let me see who we got here. Jack has Oregon, 1 unit, wanting to expand and add more units. No problem, Jack. Do me a favor. Hey, Jack, give me an idea of something that you want to make sure that you learned this evening. Tim, Delaware, currently. Interesting. And Jacksonville, Florida. Are you in the process of moving? Split residence STR in both 4 units. Congrats. Good stuff. It's at least 7? Really? Wow. Okay. 7 years then. Awesome. Susan. Wow. Anyway, guys, like I said, give her a round of applause because that's insanity. One, San Diego. Yes, Ibrahim. Yes. How to increase revenue and expand. We're going to talk about that. Which tool for automated pricing? Now, currently, Ibrahim, because I know where you are geographically located, I'm just going to go straight to Price Labs and skip the long explanation. Okay. Skipping the long explanation, but Price Labs is what we are still using and what I would recommend for that geographic area as well. Chicago. Hey, what's up, sir? Oh, no. Failed to close. Therefore, I want to grow the business now. Excellent. Jay Johnson, long time, no talk. Good to see you or virtually see you. You know what I mean. Anyway, so that's good. That's good. Oh, and Jay, long story short, let me know if I forgot the name of that organization. They still want to do the thing with the kids and up there. You're here and I'm remembering. All right. So let's get into some of the things that we are going to be talking about today, what have you. Let me shift the screen over here. If I did this, yes, that did it. Perfect. So that's exactly what I was looking for. And go to page number 2. So inside your workbook, again, there are a number of pages, but I'm going to go through a number of different things here with you guys this evening. So this is like the second page. Yes, exactly. As you guys know, the first step when it comes to any business, especially this one, is understanding who do you want to serve. So inside, we've got a workbook for you so that you can begin to go through that. Now, before you start feeling that out, okay, so that's before, as in stop writing in the book and pay attention a little bit more, please, because what I want to do is, how do I scooch it over this way? I want to go, it's not letting me do what I want to do. Give me, there it is. All right, boom. And now we want to go to here. Is that it? Yes. All right. So what I want to do is I want to talk to you for a brief moment about something in essence that we all kind of already know, right? When it comes down to achieving something that you have never done before, well, you've never done it before, which by default means you don't necessarily know what you are doing, but you've heard, okay, that is not working out the way that I had hoped. So let's do it this way. And now let's, go to over here. No. Okay, can you guys see that? Let me see. Yes, perfect. Just want to make sure it's in the window, because that's always the challenge right now, is moving it over. All right. So come on, I just did it. It's right here. You can see it, but I can't get it to go larger anymore. This is very frustrating at the moment. What is that? No, I didn't want that. I don't want that either. There it is. Finally, sorry about that. And let's go larger. So here this is. I want to describe this section to you right here. Now, so I want you to pay attention to this part right here. Boom. Let's go with this color, blue. Right here is the word be. Here's the word do. And here's the word have. Be, do, and have. So I want to explain this hopefully a little bit differently so that it's actually useful for you today. Okay. Here's where I'm coming from. Many of us, myself included, we all, right, want to have more of something. I don't really care what the something is. We just want more of it. It could be more time, more friends, more fun, maybe more spouses. Okay, that did not come out right, but you know what I meant. You want more. Now, because you want more, that doesn't necessarily mean you don't have something already. And that's what this circle right here in the center is representing. Oops, that's the eraser. Let's do it this way. Whoops, let's go back right here. So that's what this circle is representing, right? We all have something, and inside of there is some space, AKA room for more. Here's the difference. For many of us, we're trying to figure out, how can I have more of the options, maybe a different car, maybe another kid. I don't know. You want more. But here's what we typically do. We just start doing more of what we already know. Now, what does that suggest? It suggests two things. One, in the circle of doing, yes, you're doing something and it is achieving a result, but yet what we typically do is just do more of what we already know. Now, here's where the rub begins, because you say, I want more money. That's the common one, right? And what ends up happening is you get a second job. Now, you've already proven with the first job that didn't work, right? And the popular saying, job just over broke, is, well, something that many of us could say is true. Just over broke. We've already proven it. So we go get a second one thinking, okay, cool. Now I got this. Now watch this. If you don't do that, then you say, you know what? Let me go get a spouse and put her to work, because clearly two incomes are better than one. Now, while that's true in theory, you also have to ask yourself, in exchange for what? But you still have the same situation. Two frustrated individuals realizing that, hey, this exchange isn't working, especially once kids get involved. So what do we do? Now, here's the thing. What tends to happen is we get frustrated, and that frustration is by design, right? We don't like it. Here's the problem. The problem is we, all of us, we are not being a different individual. And until we are a different individual, AKA our identity shifts, we continue to achieve the same results. So let me explain how this works. Many of you don't know this, but maybe if you followed me on Facebook, you saw I like indoor rock climbing. So that's something I do with the operations officer here at the company, is that I like to go rock climbing. So it's fun, mentally challenging, physically challenging, a whole bunch of reasons. Here's my point. Now that I said that, there are certain things that you would expect me to own or have. For example, a rope would probably make sense. Knowing how to tie knots, so that's a skill set, would probably make sense. A carabiner and maybe even a harness. These are all things that are a part of rock climbing. Therefore, if I did not identify as a rock climber, would I have these things? The answer is no. So for those of you who don't yet identify as a rock climber, guess what? You don't have these things. Why would you? Because your identity is different, and therefore there was never a need for you to obtain those items. So here's my point. Part of the reason that the thing, whatever it is that you are pursuing, has evaded you is because you have not yet surrendered to the idea necessary to acquire or be responsible for said thing. Until you see yourself as a spouse, wife, husband, father, friend, guess what? It is going to be really difficult for you to develop the habits, the character, attitudes, thought patterns of whatever that role is. So what am I saying? You say to me, Jay, I want my short-term rental business to produce $5,000 a month, $10,000 a month, $20,000 a month or more. Well, it's not that it isn't possible. You want more. That's the have, right? That is have. You want to have more, and that's fine. More is available for you. In fact, write this down. Wealth is for everyone. That means you. And by everyone, I mean everyone. That includes you. Since wealth is for everyone, then the number is irrelevant. What is it that you wish to have? Now, cool, that by default means we're going to have to do things in a certain way, but also means I have to begin to identify as a person who does those things in a certain way. Therefore, I have certain habits, characters, thoughts, and actions that come together to make the rest of it happen. What does that mean? That means I should probably have on my schedule time to go rock climbing. I should probably have, I don't know where it is, but I have a device that is designed to help exercise my hand and increase grip strength so that when I'm on the wall, I don't come off. That's not good. You don't want to fall off the wall, right? So I should have shoes. There are special rock climbing shoes. They are not comfortable. Do not wear them for any other purpose, but you should have these things, right? So that, again, it's a part of the new identity. So anytime you are saying, I want, okay, it's also saying you should also be thinking, how does this change? How do I need to identify differently in order to show up? So let me show you back here on the board where I'm coming from with this. It's the circles at the bottom, right? You want more, but in order to want more, you have to put yourself in position to receive more opportunity. Now, depending on your own neuroassociation with that word opportunity, you either went one of two places, and we're going to talk about that in just a second. Now, the other piece is this. You say, well, I want more, and I am putting myself in front of more opportunity. Great. But I keep doing things the same way. Awesome. Except that's where the frustration is. So you must learn through someone else's ingenuity. So understand, opportunity gives you increase in possibility, dare I say probability, of having something different. Ingenuity is going to give you increase in capacity to do things in a different way. And then lastly is intention. Okay, is intention. Having an intention of being a certain way, then doing things differently than maybe you have ever done before, often results in greater opportunity, therefore, for you to have the very thing that you want. But it starts with intention. Now, here's the fun part of getting what you want. It's intention or it's distraction. That's it. You can look at your calendar, your bank account, however you're spending time, effort, energy, and resources. You should have enough time to where you could be convicted of being intentional, right? I should be able to see that. If you say you want more units, then cool. I should be able to see in your calendar intentional time that is designed to help you do things in a different way than probably you've been doing them before, so that you can then result in more opportunities, which allows you to eventually have the thing you want. But if you don't start it up here with intention, then it's not going to happen. Here's what I mean by this. With my assistant the other day, went back through and started creating or recreating my ideal week. What does that mean? That means I know what time I get up. I know what I'm supposed to do, in what order, what days I'm going rock climbing, what days I'm using resistance bands, which I still have to buy. But all of these things, what days I'm doing the things that need to be done to get me mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, and financially in place to make sure that not only that I'm on track for whatever it is I'm looking for, but also continuing to push forward. And it is that level of intention. Again, I may sound a little intense. I tend to do this with everything. So because how you do anything is how you do everything. But that's me. But I'm doing my best to be the example that makes it easier for you to know what to do so that you can also have, if that makes sense. And this is literally how I break it down each and every time. Now, here's the big challenge. Okay, so I'm going to show you this big challenge. Let me see if I have that already drawn out somewhere for you. Not on this screen. Maybe it's on the next one, please, because I want to show you what the big challenge that makes it difficult for a lot of us to actually do and actually receive is, okay, it's all in what we, meaning you and I, what we tend to believe. So let me show you. Scroll in again. Boom, boom. All right. Now, many of you might be thinking, okay, so what does this have to do with short-term rentals? Well, first and foremost is understanding that, there we go, you and I, we cannot, as humans anyway, we cannot perform consistently that is inconsistent with who we believe ourselves to be. So understand, that's why I started with be, do, and have, to help you make this connection that how you see yourself is often reflected in the things that you have, right? Many of you know, but for those of you that don't, I like Tesla, and I should say Teslas. But anyway, so you would expect, if I said something like that, I would learn to become a Tesla owner, of course. And there are many reasons. Once you understand that most of my decisions are mathematical, it's really easy for you to figure out like why I do almost everything, because there's usually a mathematical formula behind it somewhere. But my point is as follows. You and I cannot behave consistently that is inconsistent with who we believe ourselves to be. Why is this important? When you have some free time, I want you to go look up. I don't know if you've ever heard it before, but it's called sudden wealth syndrome. Sudden wealth syndrome. If you've never looked it up before, look it up. You'll understand once you do look it up why I'm saying go look it up, because what it basically is describing, I guess is the best way of saying it, is what happens when someone is given something of great, or what they perceive to be of great value. So this could be a whole bunch of time, but in this case, sudden wealth syndrome has to do with being given money, monetary resources. So when someone is given a number of dollars, say lottery winners, etc., what tends to happen is that person performs consistently with who they believe themselves to be. Meaning, if they never believe themselves to be worthy of that amount of money, whatever it is, it could be something as small as $10,000. It could be $100,000. It really doesn't matter. It could be $1 million. The number is irrelevant. What is relevant is how does that person believe themselves to be? If they believe themselves to be a certain way, they're going to continue to act that way, regardless of what they are given, whether they're given a job, given opportunities, it just doesn't matter. If you identify, for example, as a W-2 employee, because that's what a safe and secure job means to you, then guess what? You do all of the employee habits. If you identify as a self-employed person, then you have those habits. If you identify as an entrepreneur, you have those habits. If you identify as an investor, then you have those habits. If you identify as what they told us in school, is that we would never amount to nothing, especially for those of us who did not finish college or what have you, then you have those habits. And sometimes we can carry that as some sort of badge of shame. Therefore, this can't be for me because I didn't do what I was told. Well, here's the truth of the matter. Mama didn't get everything right, because she also said that money doesn't grow on trees. That was wrong. She also said that what you don't know won't hurt you. That was wrong. Because do you realize that what you don't know can, has, and always will hurt you, specifically in the area of taxes, but more importantly, just in understanding how to get yourself to do anything. So let's get back to it. So when we start thinking about creating a new result for ourselves, I don't care what the new result is. In this case, obviously, we're talking about short-term rentals, right? So that part should be fairly straightforward. So here's what's happening literally to all of us right now today, is that I am, as we are talking, whoopsies. Okay, there we go. Facts. So what I'm doing, and I'm doing this intentionally, is I can present some very, basic facts to each and every one of us. That's kind of what's happening, and I'm trying to make the word facts just a little bit bigger if I can find it. Okay, let's that. Nope, we're just gonna have that's supposed to be the word. You know what? Let me do this here, like so, because I can do this and that. Bam. All right. So facts. So I can give you an objective fact anytime I want, right? But that doesn't mean anything just yet, because just because someone has given you a fact does not mean that we are all representing that same fact in the same way. So here's what I mean. Yes, you could see on the street a car exceeding the speed limit, and I could see same car, same time. We are standing next to each other. A vehicle speeding, exceeding the speed limit on the same street. And depending on what's going on in our own head, walk away with two completely different impressions of what just occurred. You could see a car speeding and going, oh my God, that person should slow down. I could see that same car and go, oh my God, I hope they make it. Because see, I'm looking at the hospital that's also down the street, assuming that that's what they're headed to. And you just see them speeding because it's unsafe. There is no right, there is no wrong. It is just different. And in order to put yourself in a situation to begin to understand what has happened to you every time you've tried something new, you have to grasp this nuanced and important difference, okay? Because these facts are facts. For example, I believe this month, I haven't, as you guys know, we have a number of companies. One, the short-term rental company, probably I'm guessing it's probably going to end up somewhere between $80,000 and $90,000 dollars of revenue this month. Okay, so for that company. Now, why am I telling you that? Because that, first of all, was likely a larger number than what many of you maybe have heard for any company before. I also said one of the companies, hopefully also expanding your thought process, right, in some way, shape, or form, and said this month. So there's a number of concepts layered in that statement designed to expand your thoughts, first of all, of what's possible. But it is still a fact. So for the sake of this conversation, let's just use the number 75K, okay? And we're going to use that on a monthly basis. That is now an objective fact. Do me a favor, type those two words in the chat. Objective fact. Objective fact. It's $75,000. And in this case, oh, that could be killing me. That's funny. On a monthly basis. Here's my point. Depending on not mine, because my opinion, your opinion, nobody's opinion changes a fact. A fact is a fact. Depending on how you perceive things, because this is what happens when we are presented facts. We over here with our, that's the best I can do with a little head. So let's make some eyeballs right here. We got little eyes here. When we are perceiving a fact, okay, we are looking at it, and we're looking at it through the eyes that we have. And because our eyes are different than, well, and based upon, more importantly, all of the experiences that we have, we can see this very same fact. Okay, it's really important that you hear the word fact many times. We can either see it positively or negatively. When it comes to the world and the way it works, everything's got at least two sides. You've never seen a sheet of paper with one side, nor a slice of bread. And I don't care, a quarter it's got two sides, right? And technically a third if you think about it. But everything has at least two. So that means if we can consider something from the negative side, we can also consider it from the positive side. And here's why this is important and connected. Oftentimes, the difference is belief in your viewpoint, how you frame it. You make the frame. The fact is the fact, but we frame it either positively or negatively. So if you frame something in a positive sense, that tends to be that you believe in an outcome that is in your favor. So this is in your favor. You believe in an outcome that is in your favor. I'm almost got it. FAVOR. Okay. So you believe in an outcome that's in your favor. And so guess what? The opposite would be obviously not in your favor, right? This one would be not in your favor. Here's why this is important. Because if I said to you right now, some of you on your list of things you want to do before you die, you want to write a book. And if I said to you, how long has it been? You might say 8 years. And the reason you would say 8 years is because you've been procrastinating. And that's not true. What it is you've been believing more in an outcome not in your favor, which then creates all of the delays. And we're going to talk about the rest of it here in a second. But when we believe in something, when we frame a fact in our favor, we do things completely differently. Here's why this is important. That means you and I, we have a choice. We have agency. We can have self-efficacy. We have what is necessary to manifest whatever it is you're looking for once we get our thinking on straight. It is my frame that I have to own. And once I've done that, then I can begin to operate in a manner that is consistent with what it is that I wish to achieve. So when we are working and operating in our favor, okay, we're going to call that belief. We believe. I believe, right? That's what we're going to call that. We're going to call that belief. When we're operating not in our favor, that's when we suddenly create a whole bunch of doubt. Both of them are statements of faith. You either believe in a outcome that is going to be in your favor or an outcome that is not going to be in your favor, because here's what happens to each and every one of us, right? Boom, boom. This is the best I got. I'm not an artist. Okay. So what ends up happening is when we hold that frame around any fact, that thought in our head enough, here's where we go. We start to create a feeling. It's a little feeling in our little hearts, right? And sometimes that feeling is anticipation. And other times it's anxiety. Okay. It's anxiety when we have more faith in the outcome that is not in our favor. And it's anticipation when we are like excited about it. It's very straightforward, very simple. We are very human in that way, right? Remember Christmas when you were excited for, I don't know, opening presents? Or remember when you were first getting to know your special someone and you were excited because, hey, they're coming to town soon? Or you remember when you were first introduced maybe to a new job or a new idea, a new business opportunity, and you were like, oh, this is going to be exciting to do. All of these things, outcome in our favor. You were excited. You did not hesitate. If you knew that your book would make $1 million in the next 90 days, you would have to know. You wouldn't hesitate in getting it done because you would want the $1 million, right? That's my point. This happens every time you are in front of a new opportunity and you are now confronted with doing something differently because it requires you to become a different person. So hopefully that is beginning to click here, what I am saying to you, because having had the privilege of working with so many individuals over a long number of years, one of the things that I've learned is if you can't perceive certain things, some of the tactical things I'm going to go over later will not work, not because it doesn't work, but won't work because you don't know how to use the tools properly. That's what it'll be. It won't be that the tools don't work. It'll be that you haven't put forth the necessary effort and understanding to use the tools in the manner in which they were designed to create the result. Said another way, it'd be like trying to take a hammer to eat soup. Doesn't work, okay? For all the reasons. That's not what that was designed for. So don't do that, but that's what happens to each and every one of us when we don't put all the things in place. So here's what I'm saying. When we manifest that same anxiety or anticipation, it's our choice. We then create this energy. There's this form or function inside of our hands for us to go forth with power, hopefully, right? Because that's what we can do. We can literally create that power just because we believe in an outcome. That's when we get excited. You get excited to go to a gym because you're not thinking about the pain. Sometimes when I'm attacking the course on the wall, there's a moment where I'm like plotting the first few moves and I'm looking at it going, okay, left foot, right, or if we're going to go right foot, left, where's my hands? All this type of stuff is going through my head. And there's almost always on every course a small second where it's an outcome that is not favorable, right? Where I think I'm gonna fall off the wall. Now, sometimes I do, but not always. But there's always a small moment, and I have to remind myself, nope, that's not where we're going. So it takes literally shifting your mindset intentionally to the outcome that you do desire. If you spend more time, when I spend the most time thinking about the outcomes I desire, not what I don't want, but what I do, not because what I don't want isn't possible, but when I stay focused on the outcome I actually want, I win more often. Because I put forth the necessary activities to and then have and create the opportunities to put myself in position. And all I'm saying is short-term rentals, losing weight, writing a book, anything that you want to achieve is the same. What does that mean, though? It sounds like intentional work to keep your mind going in the direction and framing around the proper facts. That's really what it comes down to. Because the idea even of what I said earlier, if it was possible for you to be able to take your annual income, earn that monthly, and then learn to work on one hour a day, that probably sounds like craziness. And I hear you. Yet, that's why you're here, is because that's what we do. That's where we start when inside of the short-term rental space. Okay. And then later for our advanced students, what we have is our trainings on the wealth waterfall and how to make that happen. So let's get back to this, because I want to make sure that you guys get what you need so you can use the tools in order to achieve what it is that you want. Okay. So remember this. It's just a fact. You are responsible for the frame. If you can easily see it not working out for you, then do some work to figure out what does it look like if it did. Give yourself an opportunity to at least consider, but what if it did? Even for a split second, give yourself an opportunity to figure that out. Now, the reason I am so adamant about this is because when I first started in business specifically, I was squatting in bank-owned property. Credit score was 398. I did not know how I was going to feed my own children. What does that mean? It doesn't mean like I didn't know how to cook. Well, I don't. But when my kids would say, hey, what's for dinner? It was nothing. Not because simply because there was no food. Not because there was like, I can't figure out what to make. No, there's no food, no resources, like nothing. Not a great place to be. Here's my point. Understanding that everything that has happened to each and every one of us, we're going to call that so what. Someone type that in the chat. So what? And then we're going to stay focused on now what. And it was an intentional decision to keep my mind focused on the now what and not get distracted by the so what. Remember, distraction. It's either intention or distraction. That's it. Okay. Not get distracted by the so what. Stay focused on the now what. Why is this important? Why am I sharing this with you? Is because what you're endeavoring to do is to change your family tree, period. How the world sees you, how you see you, how everyone in your family relates to you, etc. It will come with its own set of hurdles, and that's okay. But in order to do that, it starts with you, starts with me. If not you, then who? That whole thing. Here's my point. Right here, you see 3 words. Let me see if I can get to a highlighter real fast. Where is the highlighter? I need the highlighter. Is that it? That does not look like a highlighter. But here's what I'm referring to. An asset. Like, what is an asset? Well, an asset is, in my opinion, it's very easy, it's very simple, it's very clear. It is when you possess, keywords, the correct mindset, the correct skill set, and the correct tool set. All of these things must be in place. You can't just have one. What does that mean? You can't just buy it. Just because you have the ability to purchase a piece of real estate, that does not make it an asset. It is just a piece of real estate. In fact, it's quite a liability until you learn, AKA develop the skill set to sell the use of the asset. Hear what I said, sell the use of the asset. I did not say sell the asset. What does that mean? For those of you who like fixing and flipping and all of this stuff, I would encourage you to not consider yourselves investors, but to consider yourselves business owners, because that's more accurate. When it comes down to being an investor, one of the key skill sets and differences is to learn how to collect assets and sell the use of them to the marketplace. So therefore you can develop cash flow. All right, so let's go back. Buying the correct tool set, that's typically straightforward and easy. Possessing the correct skill set happens over time. Developing the correct mindset is a function of the books you read, the people you meet in the community that you are surrounded by. But it takes all three of those things in order for you to effectively be able to own and operate an asset of any kind in any class. Many of you know that I like songwrites. It's one of my favorite asset classes. Right? Why? Because, well, everybody plays music and I don't have to be able to sing in order to actually get paid on the song. And they're relatively simple and straightforward to own and purchase, as well as transact. They function very, very similar to single family houses. And there's a whole bunch of reasons. Here's my point, though. Every time a song plays, somebody gets paid. And the only difference is that you may not own any of the rights to that song. Therefore, you're the one who didn't get paid. But it takes the correct mindset, skill set, and tool set to be able to do all of those things. And that's why, in my opinion, especially those of you who are here, short-term rentals make the most sense. They make a lot of sense for a lot of families simply because when it comes to real estate, I've never seen anything easier. I've never seen anything faster. I've never, ever, ever, ever seen. And I've had the privilege of, again, we're talking hundreds, around 200 single family homes. I've been the bank before, so I know what it is to have a portfolio of notes. What else? Oh, cell phone towers, commercial retail. Done the vacant land thing. Commercial. I already said commercial retail. What I'm after now, hotels. And the big thing that I just want to say is that knowing everything that I know, if I had to start over, I would do short-term rentals. Period. Point blank. Nothing faster when it comes to generating income as well as wealth, putting myself, my family in a situation in which I could get to 10, 20, 30, 40, 50,000 a month or more fast, keywords being fast. There's nothing better. Now, here's why I said the word fast, and I probably triggered a number of you, because again, it's about what you believe, not what I believe, but about what you believe about phrases like get rich quick. Now, why am I going through this again? I'm just reminding you, I'm doing this because these things that you believe about certain phrases create challenges inside the short-term rental business. I've seen it for a number of years, and I've seen it time and time again. And all I'm trying to do is literally set you free in this particular case. Okay, let me see. Let's go to the next. Is that going to be what I'm looking for? Got it. So here's the, let's go one more page. One more. Okay. Yes, there it is. So here's, I want to just challenge you on some things. The idea of that phrase, getting rich quickly. And here's how we're going to do that. All right. Okay. And we're going to have a little fun in the chat. So let me see. Is that going to be on the next page? Why? Okay. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to type out 3 particular people real fast. Okay. I want you to tell me which one is rich. So that's really the answer. Which one is rich? And I'm being very intentional with my language here. So person A, now also I'm going to say this, all as in everyone is receiving $1 million. Okay. So that is the thing here. all are receiving $1 million. Person A receives $25,000 a year over 40 years. Person B receives $100,000 a year over 10 years. Person C receives $1 million over 12 months. And the simple question that I have is, who is rich? Type it in the chat, whoever you think, which one you think it is. Who is rich? Because again, all, as in every one of them, has received $1 million. So they all got the same dollar amount. And I'm making a point here. They all got the same dollar amount. So there's no difference there. So it can't be an amount of money. Does the person receiving $25,000 a year or feel rich in any given year? Probably not. $100,000 a year, do they feel rich in any given year? Yeah, probably not. I submit for your acceptance that the answer is C. That's it. That's the only one. The answer is C. Why? Because rich is a measure of speed, not amount. When you ask the average individual, what is rich? You're going to come up with all kinds of really interesting answers. What matters is how fast the money arrives, not the amount of money that arrives. Obviously the amount is important, but learning to make money happen to you faster is really, really key. So what does that mean? That means I can't expect to get ahead if my income is always tied to per hour. Doesn't work because there's only 24 hours in any one day. That's it. Yes, I can increase the dollars per hour, but what I'm saying to you is increase the value brought to each hour. There's a very significant difference there. And only through that difference do you have a shot. The over 12 months, the last one is the one that matters. The one that has the ability to create more value in shorter periods of time. This is why I like short-term rentals. Let me show you what I mean. So we're going to use some boxes here. So let me use yellow. We're going to make them a little bit smaller. So each one of these boxes, for the sake of this conversation right now, this is going to be a short-term rental, 1 bedroom. So I'm going to give you some stuff to think about. So we're going to use the same numbers that we've always used. What is that? That's $800. So what does that mean? That means for every bedroom, $800 per month per bedroom. So that means a 1 bedroom, which is what this is. This is a 1 bedroom, right? So let's type out 1 bedroom. So a 1 bedroom, whether that's a studio and or an apartment or a 1 bedroom house, doesn't really matter. You should expect around a net income of $800 per month. Now, Joanne, get ready because I'm going to get to a formula here in a moment that's going to give you the answer to figure out where the problems could potentially lie. Ibrahim, same thing. It's coming up here in a second. All right. So that means if I have a 1 bedroom, one bedroom equals $800 per month. Now, here's the fun part. The number of days in the month stays the same. Let's just call it 30. So if I have 2 of them over the course of a month, I went from in 30 days going from $800 net to $1,600 net. Well, what does that mean? Well, what happens if we have a 3rd and then a 4th and then a 5th? Well, here's the fun part. We're just multiplying by 800. And at some point, what ends up happening is the same amount of time has expired and we have more income coming in. So when it comes to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, let's put another one, 6, and then 7 here. By the time we get to 7 1 bedrooms or 7 bedrooms in operation as a short-term rental, we're approaching $5,600 of net income on a monthly basis. And I'm using net income intentionally just so that you guys, so I've already accounted for rent, I've already accounted for all the expenses, cleaning, etc., so that you have at least 800. Now, can that number go higher? Yes. Because there are 65 different use cases for short-term rentals. For example, emergency housing, maybe through FEMA or maybe a local charity. That's definitely possible. You've got your battered spouse situations, what work that we've done before. You've got a lot of opportunities. Okay, insurance work, something I like a lot because they pay a lot for very little in terms of relative square footage. But here's my point. What you're looking at, and let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, I got 7. 7 times $800 per month gets you really close to replacing a lot of people's income. Soon as if we add just literally one more, for most American families, the average household income in the United States is approximately $70,000 a year. But as soon as we go to 8 of those, we are there. Because we're at $6,400 a month. And when you take $6,400 a month times 12, you end up with literally having a situation in which you have 2 adults who were previously working, now potentially retired. Again, this is obviously, you have to adjust for college education, all this other stuff. My point, though, is you can quickly put yourself in this position with the correct systems. Running 8 units is not a full-time 40-hour-a-week situation. Because it's not, but it's a matter of understanding systems, and it's built on this same principle, as in more money coming in faster. That's the goal. How can you make more money come in faster over the same amount of time? Yes. Can you go back to school? Sure. Can you get a second job? Excellent. But there's still the limitation per hour. It's about the value brought to each hour, not how much is earned each hour. Okay. It's about the value brought to the hour. You, by having 8 functioning units, are bringing more value to every 24-hour period to the marketplace than you could ever do working directly from your labor. So let me tell you what CashFlowDiary, what we are all about. It's about helping you to understand this one thing, literally, because we were all given 2 choices. Option A typically sounds like, looks like, smells like, go to school, get good grades, then you get a job, right? And then from that job, what we're supposed to do somehow, we're supposed to then take the, let's go. I want this. Okay. So from that job, this is where we begin to do all of the things of living, whether that's paying our rent or mortgages for a house. Okay, so we've got that. And then eventually you're supposed to, you have a kid or 12, or in my case, 4. And then, don't forget the HR lady says you got to contribute to the 401k. And then you probably have parents, and heaven forbid, you have the siblings that don't carry their own weight. So you probably got that. And somewhere in here, you're supposed to squeak out a vacation or 2. Here's my point. It doesn't take long before it feels like there's a lot of responsibility hinged on this job, which is supported by your labor. Here's the weak point. The weak point in this equation is you, is me. That's the weak point. Because as soon as your brain or your body says, I quit, either you mentally can't do it anymore, or your body physically says, I can't do it anymore, you now have a problem, because then your entire source of income goes away. This is known as a single point of failure. One of the reasons I like assets is because I can remove the risk of a single point of failure. An airplane does not fly with one wing. That's a problem. Neither does your household budget or income. You have to have multiple points of failure. So what is option B? Because that's the thing. What could I do instead? Well, I'm going to show you. Whoops, come here. Option B, sure, go to school, get good grades. Okay. But now what you're going to do is, with your labor, what you're going to do is build, buy, own assets. And then use those assets to produce your income. That's the switch. So before you go straight to work for dollars per hour, take your time, build, buy, own assets. I don't care if that's single, or what did I say, songwrites earlier, single family houses, real estate. Just get used to this pattern. And then discipline yourself to only spend the income from the assets. Whatever the assets produce, that's the money you spend. So some of you probably have a job right now. Great, congrats. And what I'm saying is start shifting. You're like, I can't do that immediately, Jay. Totally understood. Cool. But what we can do is begin with every paycheck to build, buy, or own an asset. You can, with every day, begin to build, buy, or own an asset through your labor. Write this down. An asset a day keeps poverty away. I'll say that again. An asset a day keeps poverty away. Hopefully that makes some sense. That's how I learned this. Not because I'm some super smart college graduate. That did not happen for me. I had a punctured lung. Like right here. Yeah, somewhere in there. Anyway, I had a punctured lung. I could not walk and talk simultaneously without fainting. My spouse at the time, she had a condition known as hyperemesis. She could not eat or drink while pregnant. That's not good. I was stressed. I went to go play volleyball, landed on a guy's head, punctured my lung. That's the problem. That's so what? Now what? For all of us. And I learned that I had to find a way to generate income without being able to contribute my labor directly. And through the process of becoming familiar with real estate, realized that, oh, well, that's what I can do. And that's when I became the wholesaler. That's how I got to, like I said, around 200 transactions. I would buy a house, sell a house or an apartment building within 72 hours or less, earning between $2,000 to $26,000 each time. After doing that, I then learned about taxes. Didn't like that lesson. And that's when I learned, oh, I should keep them. That's how we got up to like 400 or so doors and whatnot. And that's when I learned that, hey, this is a great way to build wealth, horrible way to build income. What else needs to change? And that's how I end up in short-term rentals, because they have the perfect combination of all of the right things for long-term asset holding, income building, wealth transfer, legacy building. Everything that you are trying to do is inside this one business model. That's why I get excited about it. That's why you're here. That's why I'm here. That's why we are growing the community the way that we are. Okay. Again, what I want to do is make sure that you have these types of foundations. The reason I'm going through this is because if you think things like money doesn't grow on trees, or it takes a long time, it's too much money too fast, that type of thing, getting rich quick is wrong or whatever, it's going to hinder your progress. Because like I said, we are not good at helping you get 1 or 2 and having that take 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12 months. No, there's nothing wrong with any one person who is physically here expanding their portfolio by at least 12 more units before this next 12 months expires. Easy peasy. In my head, in our system, and with what I understand. Okay. That's assuming you have none of the furniture, you have none of the things, you don't even know what you're doing. You're just excited to create some more income and revenue. Now, for those of you who have already been in the game a little bit, I want you to pay attention to this next formula. So Joanne, Ibrahim, I want you to pay attention. This is how you diagnose as well as begin to put yourself in a position to increase that revenue, all right? To increase that revenue. And then, also as a reminder, I just saw it on the bottom of the screen. I'm just teaching you guys tonight, so breathe. If you got here late, okay, great. If you're, what it comes down to though, is if you already know that short-term rentals is the thing you want to do, you have a unique opportunity, because I am going to be taking phone calls over the next couple of days. It's a 22-minute phone call, so it's not even that long. I'm going to ask you some questions. We're going to figure some stuff out, and we're going to give you access to the tool set that we have created that has allowed us to create a number of 7-figure families, which I am very proud of. But also, you would be invited into the community and boom, 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 keep doing your business so that we can begin to continue this particular journey. So I want to share with you this formula. Here it is. Okay. Many of you, if you've been around me for any length of time, you have seen this formula before. You are not about to be surprised because it is L times C. Oh, wait, hold on. I got to make it larger. Wait. How can you just, yes, that's what I want. Right there. L times C times F times M equals GP. You're like, what is that? It's leads times customers times frequency times margin equals growth potential. Leads times customers times frequency times margin. These are the 4 levers that you can pull in your business. Now, when it comes to short-term rentals, there are many different ways to generating leads. Sometimes you generate new leads by expanding the customer profile. Remember, page 1 in the workbook is all about who do you want to serve. So if you serve a particular type of customer, could you also serve a second type of customer? That's a lead expansion. Sometimes it's expanding the marketplaces upon which you advertise. So maybe it's Airbnb, and then maybe it's Flipkey, Wimdu, Travelocity, Booking.com. Who knows? My point is, both of those are ways of expanding the number of leads. C, customers. This is conversion process. So now we're getting into your systems, your messaging, etc. How are you currently doing that? Meaning, are you currently receiving the same number of messages year over year at this same location? And if so, what was the conversion rate then versus now? Because if it was 30% and now it's 12%, maybe it's in your messaging, something has changed, if that makes sense. So what is the lead to customer conversion rate, right? Or changing to a different type of customer, as you heard me mention before. In fact, let me show you some different types of customers. How can I get to the internet? I need to get to the interwebs. Okay. So yes, that would do it. Let's do it this way. And we're going to share a different screen. I'm going to stop that one. We're going to go here to here. Boom. All right. So now I'm going to type Airbnb. What is that? One of my favorite examples here, covered wagon. That's all it is. It's a covered wagon. So here's a way to take vacant land, turn it into something that is completely different. So what I am showing you here is also still a little small. So let's do it this way. All right. You've got exactly that covered wagon. I don't know where to get a covered wagon. I have no desire to stay in a covered wagon, but covered wagon, vacant land apparently equals $264 a night. And they have, I believe, 5 covered wagons on this vacant piece of land with the fire pit. And clearly they let you rent and to ride some ponies and horses. And I'm certain that that too is not free. All right. So what does that mean? Hopefully it's expanding the customer type. Here's another one. It is, oh man, it just went away from my brain. There it is. Hicksville. You know what? Let me do it this way. I'm gonna go to Hicksville Trailer Palace. This is Erica and Rebecca. They started with us many years ago. They've been featured in Condé Nast, also on Netflix. This is exactly what it looks like. Vacant land with used, mobile homes and various themed shacks. So they started with basic short-term rentals, graduated through the process, then went and purchased this. Is one of, I believe, the 2 hotels that they currently own. Anyway, here's my point. Same concept, same system, same start, and ta-da, here you go. That's Rebecca, and that was Erica right there. Anyway, my point is the process is the same. The formulas are the same. Nothing in that regard really ever changes. It's just we repeat it over and over and over. Business should technically be boring because you're doing the same thing repeatedly just for different people. So that's what I mean by changing your customer. F is frequency. How frequent does that one customer use your service? So maybe you can incentivize frequency. And you've seen this before. This is your frequent flyer, your miles programs, all this type of stuff. Do you have one? If you don't have one, why not? You're pretty much saying, I don't expect them to ever come back again. Let me take that as a little bit further. Do you have an email database? Have you emailed any of the customers? Any of the customers? By any, I mean any of the customers ever. And ask them to come back, or watch this, send you a referral. See, if you give a person a reason to do a thing, they'll probably do it. That's how you get anybody to do anything. That's how you get yourself to do anything, is you give yourself a reason to do it. Until then, they're not going to do it. You're not going to do it. No one's going to do it. Okay. And then M is for margin. Now, this is the proverbial, would you like fries with that? Right. And this category, people do talk about a lot. So this is where you can add things like airport transfer or extra cleanings or renting baby equipment. These are things that are additive to the stay. My favorite is transportation. That's how I ended up with the Teslas. That's because they were renting to the guests in the short-term rentals. That makes sense. Simple. It made sense. It makes sense to me. I tried a number of different cars at first, some gas powered and others. At this moment, Teslas and maybe Jeeps. That's all I'm doing. Okay. So, but that's me. Some of you are more mechanically inclined than I, and that's great. But Joan, this is the answer to the revenue problem. This is always the answer to the revenue problem. Ibrahim, this is always the answer to the revenue problem. You go category by category. Look at where my leads coming from. How am I converting my customers? How frequently are they coming back? When they are here, what are they buying in addition to the place to stay? Because see, what we often do is we just sell the burger. We forget the fries and the drink. And we definitely don't ask them to buy the Happy Meal, and we don't have the super size or, the other options that you see at the drive-thru at McDonald's. And that's where the money is left on the table. One of the easiest ones is internet. We all know this because when you go to a hotel, we do it. You spend the $5, $9, $10, $12, $17 a night extra. Well, do the same thing. Leverage that. Not only to build your database, but also to expand your revenue. That's actually one of the easiest ways to do it. But this is the answer. It's L times C times F times M equals growth potential. Now, for those of you who are not yet started, okay, keywords being not yet. For those of you who have not yet started, here's what I'm doing. I'm going to now, what we're going to do, okay, because you probably noticed I'm talking a little fast. It means I also need to take a small break, okay? Because we've got a little bit more to go, all right? We've got a little bit more to go. We're scheduled to go for a little bit more. I'm going to take a small break, but here's what I want you guys to do. This is where you begin to participate in making sure that you retain the information that I am giving you. I need you to tell me in the chat one thing, just one thing that you have learned so far that you'll be able to use, that'll expand your revenue, something that maybe expanded a concept or a thought that you did not have before. Now, there are still some spots available on the calendar for those of you who want to grab an opportunity to make sure that you meet with me so we can make sure to diagnose whatever's going on inside your short-term rental business. You want to go to cashflowdiary.com/start. Okay? You want to do that. You want to do that during the break. We're going to take approximately 20, that's 20 minutes. That'll give me time to reset and make sure that I've taken care of my body, drinking, and all that other stuff so that I can come back and give you the energy. Now, when I come back, here's what we're going to do. We're going to dive directly straight in. I'm going to treat every one of you as if you have 0 units today. And I'm going to tell you what to do step by step. Okay. I'm going to tell you what to do step by step. Here's the challenge. It's going to feel like baking instructions, which To me, it's kind of that simple. It is that straightforward. But if you don't believe the concepts I shared with you earlier, it's going to be really difficult for you to use them, because you have to have a mindset that is open to receiving things like the word yes, but most importantly, like other words, like saying, yes, I would like to get 5 units, even though you have no clue how you're going to furnish them, finance them, run them, anything, but you got to be able to say it. We're going to go through the scripts. We're going to go through the process and help you be able to make decisions, hopefully tonight, so that you can begin to actually see your own business come in, to existence. All right. So like I said, go grab something to drink, grab something to eat, take care of yourself. When you hear the music stop, that means I'm back and it's time to get going. All right. So with that being said, I will see you guys back here. Now, don't forget your assignment. Those of you who need an appointment, go ahead and get that done and tell me one thing. That's all I want. Just one thing that you have been able to pick up so far from everything that I've been putting down, because I want to know what it is that you guys have been able to receive from the time that we spent together so far. We're going to review that when I come back. We're going to get into the how-tos and the whatnots. All right, see you in a bit.